as you guys all know, the Lakers have signed Christian Wood this offseason, which is actually like a great signing because, Mo Bamba, Wayne Gabriel weren't the best backup centers last year. And it's felt like since Dwight Howard left and JaVale McGee left, they haven't had somebody to come off the bench to post up and be able to, to play the center position behind Anthony Davis. And now they have him. But Jovan Buha of The Athletic put out a report today that Christian Wood is expected to come off the bench next season, with Rui Hachimura likely starting next to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, as that's going to be, the two forwards and the center. And then we assume point guard is either D'Angelo Russell or Jalen Hood-Schifino, with Austin Reeves at shooting guard. And it's a 2-year deal with a player option in the second year for like $5.7 million. And this deal was interesting because Buha says that Christian Wood was waiting out for a potential James Harden, Damian Lillard trade to potentially find a larger role before signing with the Lakers. And I think what he was trying to say there is he was hoping that the Miami Heat would have gutted their roster by now and they would have offered Christian Wood a contract, a spot on the roster. So I do think that's kind of funny how he was hoping that would be the case. And I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him. I would be open for the same thing. It's interesting though, because when I look at Christian Wood, I definitely think he's a guy who it's not really a huge gamble, but he's the Lakers' third center and 14th player on their roster. And it's basically a 1-year deal. But for them, they're getting a guy who has 3-level scoring. And we've talked about this before. He averaged, 16 points last year, 7 rebounds, and a block a game while shooting like 50% from the field and 37% from 3. And over the last 4 seasons, he's averaged almost 17 points, 8 rebounds, and a block shot a game between the Mavericks, Rockets, and Pistons. And again, this is a guy who is a solid basketball player, and that he deserves his apples. Okay, but there's flaws. There are flaws on this man's record, and I think the flaws are, I know a lot of people say they don't like his attitude, that he is somewhat of a diva, but the idea of having him be your 6th man is pretty darn great, in my opinion. I think there's way worse 6 mans out there than Christian Wood. And I think with more time passing, I think people are going to realize the fact that they basically got Christian Wood at a minimum contract is a robbery, especially for this team, that it gives them more scoring. Yes, scoring necessarily isn't what they need. Shooting's what they need. So getting more shooting is great. That's something that we all know that the Los Angeles Lakers were, since they've won the championship, since they traded away Contavious Caldwell-Pope, they've needed more 3-point shooting. So to see that they're finally getting that addressed, I think is a positive sign for all Lakers fans, as Christian Wood is now going to be in a situation where, if last year he was a 6th man of the year candidate last year, this year I think he'll be 6th man of the year candidate again, if not potentially the winner, because he's going to be in such a big market like Los Angeles. And I do like the idea of Rui Hachimura coming out here and also being, the starter, because I do think he's deserving of that. What I find interesting is what will be, what is the way that this is going to be handled and why. I'm just curious that Rui, okay, he had a great stretch last year. And we know that they brought in Jackson Hayes and Taurean Prince as well, who are going to be good off the bench guys. The starting lineup of Davis, James, Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and probably D'Lo, or whatever you guys. I feel like it's so subjective to say what the starting lineup's going to be, because let's be honest, none of us know. And that's how crazy this is. Like, we legitimately, none of us know if this lineup is going to have D'Lo or not. Okay, we can all assume that D'Lo, will be a guy that people want to see. But for me, I will say that I am rather shocked that there hasn't been much talk about D'Lo. The start of like free agency and all that stuff, there was all, the basic D'Lo chatter that, they want to move on from him. But after he signed that contract, it was just kind of like, okay, it's over. None of us are going to talk about D'Lo anymore. And I think that's good. And I also really liked Rui. He didn't play with the national team this past offseason. So I wonder if that was just, personal choice. But I definitely think it's fun to see that this is a team that, last year they had Thomas Bryant. Christian Wood's going to be way better. Jared Vanderbilt started last year, but his minutes declined. And that was due to the fact that he can't shoot. So having his shooting ability in Christian Wood and, Rui Hachimura, then you also have Gabe Vincent that they brought in, who also could be the starting point guard. So for me, I think you got a guy over here that he's going to be able to shoot over bigs like Jabari Smith and others. But the Lakers are going to be really happy to have someone like that, which, let's be honest, I think this is a team that definitely can go ahead and have a very, very successful season. But I also want them to know that this is a team that I feel like is deeper. They're having a lot more higher expectations. The last time they had these expectations, we all know how that went. So I hope everything goes well and we get to see they made it to the Western Conference Final, and this team is definitely better than the team that played in the Western Conference Finals 3 months ago. And I think we're all in agreement on that one, which is like kind of crazy to think about that. Yeah. Shout out Rob Pelinka for that, because let's be honest, going into free agency, I didn't think they were going to make this many moves. I didn't know that they could make this many moves. So the fact that they were able to do it, I think, is the best part and what I enjoyed the most. So if you guys made it this far into today's video, hit that like and subscribe button. It would definitely mean the world to have your guys' support. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys did like this. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if there's ever anything you guys want to hear me talk about, just let me know. I'm always down to make those videos.